everyone, Ariel with Arielpaints. Today's video is going to be a review video on the Marcela Bustamante Blazing Brush line. She saw me using one of her brushes in a video, asked me if I wanted to try more. I of course said yes and offered to do a review, and she sent me her entire line. You guys, when I opened the package, my jaw dropped. I was so excited. I have been using these exclusively for the last month at all my gigs, and I'm going to walk you through the line, show you the differences between some brushes, compare them to some of my kind of old favorites, and then I'm also going to show you my top favorite brush out of her line that I am obsessed with. So stick around for that. I hope you guys like this review video, and let's get into it.
All right, so I've separated out these brushes in flats, specialty, basic rounds, and then the liner and script brushes. So I'll go through and do a few demos of some of these and then also compare them to some of my favorite brushes I've been using forever, which are the Face Painting Shop and Low Cornell brushes, just so you guys have some context. So I have 3 liner brushes here. This is a 0. It's long and skinny and very, very thin bristles. This is a number 3, so it's a little bit bulkier, but still nice and long for that script. It's actually called Script Liner number 3, which is appropriate. And then a number 1. So the number 1 is going to be just a little bit bulkier than that 0, but not by much at all. So let's do a quick demo with 0 and 3. I'm going to give you a tip with liner brushes in case you haven't heard me say this before. If you are trying to load a liner brush and your paint is not already activated, take a larger brush, a number 6, a number 8, whatever you have around, and first activate your paint with that because you have more bristles. It's going to agitate the paint. You're going to get more water into the paint, and then you're going to have a much easier job loading your liner brush. Because there are so few bristles to work with here, if you just go in with your liner brush and try to activate the paint, you're really going to be beating up the liner brush, and they're so fine and delicate that you want to keep them nice and fresh and not frayed. So if you don't do that, try it. You will thank me later. All right, so with liner brushes, I tend to like to do a lot of scrolly stuff. Once your paint is activated, you can dip back into water and go back in. It's just that first activation. If you're working with a dry cake, it can be really difficult. Oh, it's a very nice brush. I have not used this one yet. It glides nicely. The dryness is definitely because of my board, not because of the liner. One thing I like to do is pick up a little ball of paint and see what kind of dots it makes. Oh, it makes nice dots. So this is a great liner brush. If you don't use liners, they're a great brush to do hash marks and little teardrops as well. Obviously, very thin lines that you're going to get from this brush. It holds paint well. It's holding its shape very well, which is something I look for. So yeah, I really like that. That's very nice. Let's do the number 3 script so that you can see the difference. You're just going to get a little bit of a thicker line, but see that point you can get with it? That's the brilliance of getting a liner brush or a script brush that's a little thicker in the middle, but still has that nice refined point. And again, the dryness is just painting on this black board, so bear with me. It's holding its shape really nicely. Do our dots. Oh yeah. Can get nice and thin. This would be a great brush for line work. I do like using script brushes for line work because you just have a little bit more movement with them. Yep, I like both of those. So for comparison, let's go ahead and use the script liner number 1. It's a lovely brush as well. Nice movement, keeping its shape well. I love a script brush. If you don't use them often, I would probably pick just one of these to try. They're really fun to play with. And I particularly like doing the kind of drag and drop teardrops with them. Yeah, I could paint with these for hours. Super fun. So these are pretty similar to some other liner brushes that I've used. I will say having the variation between the 0, 1, and 3 is nice. If you like using script liners, having that variance can come in handy. So yep, I am liking these a lot. I also noticed the handles of her brushes are very thin and sturdy. They're kind of a molded plastic, which is nice. They feel really good, and they seem like they're gonna stand up to the test of time, because if you guys are anything like me, when you invest in good brushes, you keep them forever, which it's really important to have those handles be nice. The old low Cornells are all just like chipping off for me. So I don't know if you can see that. Doesn't seem like it would even be possible for her brushes to chip because they're no like paint on the outside, where I can tell these are layered with wood on the inside. So after a while, they just kind of get eaten away at. So that's a good thing to note, and these should last you a really long time. Okay, moving on to the basic rounds. I have a number 3, a 0, 4, 5, 2, and what's this little guy? Another 2. Some of these are limited edition. I don't know how long the limited editions will last, but I have a 5 and a 2 in the rounds. I want to do the 5. All right, so this is the number 5. It's limited edition. Get that loaded up. The bristles feel nice. I would say in comparison to Low Cornell or to the face painting shop, Marcela's designed her brushes to be just a little bit stiffer in the bristle, which is not a bad thing. They're not noticeably stiff unless you're really paying attention, but I can tell a slight difference between the bristles of this and say the Low Cornell are just a little softer. It is very, very subtle, but if you had both of them next to each other, you would be able to tell the difference. So something to note. I'm just gonna do some teardrops. Number 5 is a relatively common size, something I would use pretty much at every event, but not necessarily for line work. So probably more like if I was doing a crown or a mask on someone. Let's see how the dots go. Yeah, this is a very nice brush. It is a little bit more of a true round So you're not going to get as much of that detailed tip as you would in like a liner or script brush, but that's how this is designed. So if you don't follow Marcela Bustamante on Instagram, you absolutely should, because she is the absolute queen of line work. So I hopefully am doing her brushes justice, but when you see her doing line work in any capacity, it is awe-inspiring. So please go check her out. All right, so in comparison to a classic brush like a low Cornell, very similar, just a little bit stiffer. And if you can see, it does come to a little bit more of a nicer, rounder tip on Marcela's brush, where the low Cornell is separated a little bit. It's a little bit more fluffy. So a little bit of a difference. Overall, they're both good brushes, but I would say this 5 would be a good choice if you're looking for a basic medium-sized round. So let's also, from these rounds, I'm going to pick a round 0, just a detail brush to show you guys. This is the size I would use for something like a unicorn's eye. So let's just see if I were just doing a simple one. Yeah, it's a really nice detailed brush. But you can still build up the paint a little bit and get some nice dots if you want to. It's interesting because I can tell that the bristles she selected on these, they are just a little stiffer, which don't hinder your painting, but I have a feeling they're gonna hold up really well and they're not gonna fray, which with rounds is huge, because when rounds start to fray, your only choices are to try to trim the frayed bristles and hope that it doesn't ruin your brush, or essentially to stop painting with them. So that is kind of a hopeful thing for the future. I'll have to, of course, do a lot more painting with these to confirm that suspicion, but I've been painting for, I don't know, 25 years, so I have a lot of brush experience. I've purchased a lot of brushes and I've thrown away a lot of brushes, so it's encouraging. All right, so let's look at the specialty brushes. The dagger brush is one I have been using for quite some time, maybe 6 months or so. It's one that I purchased a while ago when I wanted another dagger brush. If you are interested in dagger brushes and you haven't used them, check out my very detailed dagger brush video. I am a huge fan of dagger brushes, and it was my first purchase of a Blazinbrush, so highly recommend it. I'm not going to demo this one because I have that full video on them, so go check out the dagger brush video. It's an amazing brush. Highly recommend this one. 1/4 inch dagger, you cannot go wrong, so go buy that one. The other 2 specialty brushes I have here are the Flora brush, which I love a Flora brush, and then this Ultra Point 4. This is a very, very unique brush and reminds me of the line the face painting shop came out with, which were the pointed rounds. Again, one of the differences here is Marcela's bristles are just a little bit stiffer. And when I say stiff, they're not hard. They're still soft to the touch, but you can also see how this is holding its shape and coming to a point. My face painting shop one is just a little bulkier. When I get this wet, it will come back to its shape and I can still manipulate it, but it looks like Marcela has designed hers to taper a little bit more. So the whole point with the pointed brush in general is you have an elongated bristle and you have more bulk in the middle, and then it comes to a nice fine point. So I'm going to load both of these up just to show you how they work and the comparison. I love using this style of brush. So I'm going to load them up together. That's how lazy I feel today. So the face painting shop one I have too is a number 6, so it is a little bit bigger, so that'll make a difference. All right, so now that it's loaded, you can see the Face Painting Shop one has come to a tip. Marcela's tip is still just a little bit pointier. I don't know how it's better to see either with my hand or on the black. So one of the reasons I like these brushes is because they have such a fine tip that you can start very thin, and then as you press, you get the bulk of that thicker side of the brush, which is in the middle, and then you can go back out to a fine tip. I don't think that's the brush. That is my board being dry. So let me get a little bit more paint there. Yep. So this comes to a really, really fine tip. And from my experience with the Face Painting Shop brush, I would say that's the difference. I also love these liners because if you kind of like press on the side, you can get this like bulky teardrop, which not everybody likes, but sometimes I do like that look. All right, so for comparison, here is the Face Painting Shop, which is very much a gold standard of mine. I've always enjoyed the Face Painting Shop brushes, and just within our industry, they are very well known. So you can see the shape of these are just a little different. This is getting more of like a fanned out shape, but overall they're very similar. So I like these brushes. If you've never tried a pointed round, Marcela's would be a good one to check out. All right, let's do the Flora brush. One thing I noticed with this Flora brush the second I opened it is it also comes to a very, very fine, thin tip, which my other Flora brush of this size doesn't. It comes to a tip and it comes to a peak, but this one extends out a little bit more, which really interested me. So let's get this loaded with a little bit of white. All right, let's get this loaded up using a rainbow cake because it's all I have in front of me. And let's do some flowers. I absolutely adore a petal brush. This is the perfect size. It's not too big, not too small. And because of that thin tip, look at the line I get from that. So when I'm at like a festival and I'm really, really pressed for time, I will use my Flora brushes to do line work too. So I might do that design on someone's face and then I just take the tip of the brush and do my line work. I don't even find a smaller brush. And because this tip is so refined, it is so thin. I wish you guys could see this. It elongates out so much to almost just like one bristle. You can do line work with it. That is bananas. I mean, I do that with my other brushes, but it doesn't even look that good. So this brush is probably one of my favorites. Highly recommend this one. All right, so the last brushes I have to show you are the flats. I love all of these, but I have an absolute all-time favorite in this bunch, so I'm gonna show you what that is. Okay, first I've grabbed the Face Painting Shop 3/4 that I use and love just for a little bit of a comparison. They have some similarities and some differences. These two Face Painting Shop ones are shorts, so they are a little stubbier. This 3/4 inch by Marcela is called a 3/4 inch long angled, and then this is just a 3/4 inch flat. One thing I noticed when I was using these on the job, and when I first opened the package, I thought this was a 1 inch because it looked a little bit thicker. And when I actually compared them, if you line up the ferrule of these, and here, let me move these so maybe you guys have a chance to see this. There's not a huge difference, but Marcela's 3/4 inch is just the tiniest bit larger, and I absolutely love that, and I'm going to show you why. It is such a subtle difference that you're not going to notice that much unless you're crazy like I am. But I use a lot of the Fusion paints that come in these little stubbier one-stroke containers, which are just a little bit thicker than your average one-stroke container. And Marcela's 3/4 inch brush is just big enough that it actually allows me to pick up all the colors in these wider cakes. It's very subtle. There's just a few extra bristles on the side, but I love it. I noticed it. It was a noticeable difference on the job when I was using these cakes. So I really liked it. As far as stiffness, again, lots of bristles. Got a little bit of a stiffer bristle. Then the face painting shop is just a little bit softer. I like them both. They're both great brushes. But this is a great option. So if you're considering Marcela's flat brushes, I'd absolutely go for this. Or if you tend to use a lot of these stubbier cakes, then you might actually really, really like Marcela's 3/4 inch because it's just a little bit bigger. So just an odd thing that I noticed. Now, the 3/4 inch long angled, I love a long bristled flat brush. So this is like a godsend to me. I love having the elongated bristles because it allows for more movement, and you can hold so much paint in these, so you can just paint and paint and paint. Now, I told you guys I have a favorite, like a hands down, I need 5 more of them favorite. So it is this 1/2 inch long angled brush. I have never used anything like this before or seen it in the face painting world, and I will tell you, this is brilliant. I did also use the 1/2 inch flat, which is a little bit longer than some of the 1/2 inch flats that I do have. The bristles are much, much shorter, and I don't love those brushes. I've never enjoyed them in my kit. This one I used to do Batman yesterday a bunch, and it's longer, so it has more movement. I like my bristles and my brushes to have more movement, so this is a huge plus for me. But this brush is an absolute game changer, and I am not kidding. I will be ordering at least 4 or 5 of these for my kit because this is my new favorite brush. I will show you guys some butterflies I did with this yesterday, and I will demo it for you as well. It is just so unique. The long bristles have so much movement. It's the perfect size, and I am truly in love. So you guys are gonna see this brush a lot moving forward from me. I will show you why. All right, I'm gonna do this in your direction so that you can see. Oops, got a little too much water on my brush. Look at how that cuts. Oh, I just absolutely love it. I had so much fun painting butterflies yesterday. The ones I painted were very kind of stylized, like I might have gone a little overboard, but I was just having so much fun with this brush, and you can get just like the best angles out of it. So I'll show you guys a little bit of what I was doing yesterday with my butterflies. I always cut in at the top, and then I was just pulling this brush down and around, and then I was layering little sweeps, and it was so fast and so cute, and it's just so much fun to use. I absolutely adore this brush. This is by far my favorite brush, and I like all of the brushes that Marcela was so kind to send me so I could do a review for you guys. But this brush, and then you can drag and drop to get little antenna. How cute is that? And then I was doing kind of like an elongated bottom wing, and then just pulling up. I'll insert the pictures too so that you guys can see, but how brilliant. I absolutely love this brush. I used this for Batman too because I wanted to compare to see how this would work compared to the 1/2 inch flat, and they both worked perfectly well. I do like this one, but this, I kept going back to this brush, and I know I'm just going to be cleaning it out 1,000 times on the job, so I'm going to have to get a few more because it is now my go-to brush for princess crowns. It'll be perfect. So here we go. That's my review on Blazing Brushes by Marcela Bustamante. There's a really great line, well thought out. You can tell an artist designed them and she really knows what she's doing. So if you're curious about them, go check them out. Start with a couple, see how you like them. I am really enjoying them and I look forward to using them more. If you have questions, feel free to let me know, but you can also go to Marcela's website and purchase these, as well as a lot of your favorite face painting shops are going to carry them too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching.